Good afternoon and welcome to Channel 44. I am Mercy Gashegu Sembatia to bring you this afternoon's business news segment together with Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation. Well, we'll start with our local business news update as the world joins the rest, as Uganda joins the rest of the world to commemorate the World Wetlands Day tomorrow, the 2nd of February 2023. The government has called upon Ugandans to embrace the environment, to embrace the environmental strategy on sustainable conservation. This year's Global Wetlands commemoration will be earmarked under the theme, "It's time for wetland restoration." In a press statement read by State Minister for Environment, Honorable Beatrice Anywa, large chunks of land on wetlands have been degraded, including forestry, without following the laws and guidelines of the National Environment Management Authority, something that has led to climate change. Beatrice Anywa, on this note, acknowledged the positive impact that has been registered as a result of encroaching on the wetlands and mentioned economic benefits where people have managed to acquire jobs, the heavy taxes that government has directly acquired from the investments put on the wetlands, which has led to economic development of the country, but emphasized the need to use the natural resource sustainability for the future of our wetland.
First one is accept. It is time for wetland restoration. And our national theme is wetland restoration for people and nature. With restore wetlands, save life as our slogan. This theme is in the line with the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration and brings out the critical pathway for wetland restoration, with emphasis on the linkages and interdependencies of people on wetlands, highlighting also their significant contribution to their existence and the need to use them wisely. At the same time, it provides an opportunity to raise awareness on the importance of wetland for our common future. Ladies and gentlemen, wetlands in Uganda registered a decline in the coverage from 15.6% in 1994 to 13% in 2015. Only 8.9% of the 13% was intact, and over 4.1% already degraded. The natural resource we are endowed with as a country must be used sustainably. 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 In other words, I'm saying even the forests, even the Mabira we fought for, you and us and me, must be used for economic benefit in a sustainable way. It's like some of these parasites which live on us. They will never kill the host. So the wetlands we have are supposed, and we have a program as a government, that they are used sustainably. Unfortunately, even when NEMA gives the guidelines on how to use the natural resources like wetlands, even the forest, in a more sustainable way, people go overboard, and that is where there is a problem. Because there is a problem of not following the guidelines, that is why I even indicated that cabinet said, can we give it a stop? Because we would have had these natural resources, these wetlands, used, but mindful of our environment and retaining the work it does for us. And also, as a country, getting the economic benefits, the employment it can give to our people, the boost to our economy, that cannot be overlooked. As a government, we have even gone ahead to say people who are being evicted from the wetlands, because we want also Ugandans to live and benefit from this natural resource. We have doubled effort and say, live and sustainable use where you are by growing your rice. We are going to move you as a government and provide for you, guide you, teach you how you can have your fish farming at the side of a wetland. That's one is acceptable. The activities that are allowed to be carried out in the wetland with our guidelines for sustainable use and benefit of Ugandans.
Well, we are all urged to conserve the environment, so we all as Ugandans need to take note of our environment and preserve the wetlands. Moving on in today's business news, still on the local scene, National Drug Authority together with Uganda National Bureau of Statistics and Uganda Communications Commission have held a strategic meeting with media players with the purpose of cautioning media houses against publishing herbal drugs which are not authorized by the National Drug Authority. In a meeting held in Kampala today, the spokesperson of the National Drug Authority, NDA, Abiaz Ramwili, noted that the National Drug Authority Act CAP 206 is given the mandate and absolute power to regulate adverts of advertisements of any drugs on the market with a well-balanced information which is not misleading the public. However, Abiaz noted that they are currently faced with the challenge of manufacturers of energy drinks and soft drinks who end up advertising in the media, promoting their products as herbal drugs that cure certain diseases, something which is illegal. In response to the campaign against herbalists, which has been launched, UNBS claims that these manufacturers are given the certificate with standards they need to embark on advertising their products as medicinal drugs.
UC and UNBS is holding an engagement with advertisers and media houses. Advertisers who have been making claims of prevention and treatment of different disease conditions without the approval of the National Drug Authority. The National Drug Authority Act gives NDA the mandate to regulate advertisement of drugs. The National Drug Policy and Authority Act, CAP 206 of the Ugandan laws. It gives the National Drug Authority the mandate to regulate advertisement of any drug-related information. Knowing that the drugs are not like any other commodity, the information about them must be balanced to give the patient and the prescriber the balanced information to make the right decision about treatment. The biggest challenge we have are the energy drinks, soft drinks, who go to our colleagues at UNBS. They get Q mark and are allowed onto the market as soft drinks or energy drinks. When they get onto the market, they start promoting themselves with medicinal claims, with treatment claims, and that is illegal by the law. Even if it is water, if you go out and put out information that your water prevents or cures a certain condition, it is no longer water, it's a drug, and you are inviting National Drug Authority. So it doesn't matter who authorized you. it's no longer an issue of UNBS. You have crossed a drug line, and that is why we have to take action to protect Ugandans, because we want to know. Maybe along the way, you've realized after getting a Q mark that now your product has medicinal importances. We require that you come to us, and on top of the Q mark you have from UNBS, get our accreditation, get our approval.
The issue of health drinks is handled by the National Drug Authority. So anyone who wants to make a product and put it out there that has anything to do with therapeutic claims, medicinal issues, you have to go to the National Drug Authority because they are the competent authority. Now, we are here because there are people who are making soft drinks, okay? They are making fruit juices, they are making carbonated juice drinks, and they get certification from us because they meet the standards, okay? But once they get the Q mark, they go and advertise claiming to be medicinal, and that's deception. When they came to us, they came as a soft drink. All it is you're putting in the basic ingredients of a soft drink. If there was any drug in that product, we would not touch it. We would send you straight to NDA.
Therapeutic and have medicinal properties. The Commission developed advertising standards that guide the process through which such products are supposed to be advertised. A product that has medicinal claims or therapeutic claims must be cleared by the National Drug Authority because it is the body mandated by law to approve all drug-related adverts. So for a broadcaster, the expectation is if a client walks to you with an advert that has therapeutic claims, the expectation is that that client must also serve you a letter that the advert has been approved by the National Drug Authority.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's local business news. We'll take a very short break, a look at today's fuel prices. We'll return with our international business news segment. Stay with us. Start with the trending business news. In Africa, the Electoral Authority in Nigeria is concerned that ongoing fuel shortages in the country could affect preparations for the country's elections on the 25th of February. Overnight queues have become a familiar sight at petrol stations in Nigeria's largest city, Lagos, as many spend hours in line hoping to buy fuel. Millions in Nigeria rely on petrol not just for transportation, but for generators to power their homes and businesses. These costs have skyrocketed over the last few months, with the price of fuel going up around 100% in the black market. The government has denied increasing the price of petrol and maintains there is enough supply to meet the demand, but it blames the independent oil marketers who are responsible for selling and distributing the product for worsening the crisis. And still in Africa, fuel prices in Cameroon will rise by about 15% from today after the government agreed to pressure from the International Monetary Fund to cut fuel subsidies. A litre of diesel will rise from 575 CFA francs, which is about $0.9, to 710 CFA francs, which is about $1.19, while petrol will sell for 730 CFA francs, which is equivalent to $1.21 from 630 CAF francs, which is equivalent to $1.04. The Prime Minister's office also announced a 5.2% pay rise for public service workers as a cushion to the impact of the increase in fuel prices. Many unions had urged the government to increase the minimum wage for the private sector. The IMF is expected to provide $74.6 million to Cameroon as credit facility in March. Elsewhere, authorities in Western Australia say they have found a tiny radioactive capsule which went missing last month. Emergency services had literally found the needle in the haystack. A huge search was triggered when the object was lost while being transported along a 1,400-kilometer route across the state. Authorities released a close-up picture of the pea-sized capsule, which could cause serious harm if handled on the ground among tiny pebbles. A serial number enabled them to verify they had found the right capsule, which is 6 millimeters, an equivalent of 0.24 inches in diameter and 8 millimeters long. It contains a small quantity of Cesium-137, which could cause skin damage, burns, or radiation sickness. Mining giant Rio Tinto apologized for losing the device, which is used as a density gauge in the mining industry. A 20-meter hot zone has now been established around the capsule, and it will be placed into a lead container. It will be stored at a secure location in the town of Newman overnight before being transported to a secure facility in the city of Perth on Thursday. In the United Kingdom, house prices in the UK fell for the 5th month in a row in January, according to Nationwide Building Society. The price of the average property last month was £258,297, down by 0.6% on December. Annual house price growth slowed to 1.1%, down from 2.8% in December. The country's biggest building society said it would be hard for the market to regain much momentum in the near term. And oil giant ExxonMobil reaped a record $55.7 billion in profit last year as oil prices surged following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The total was more than double 2021's figure and is likely to renew pressure on the industry after some countries, including the United Kingdom, imposed special taxes on the profits last year. Exxon has criticized such measures as counterproductive. Last month, it sued the European Union over the new windfall tax. Exxon has also spoken out against similar proposals in the US, where President Joe Biden has sought to focus blame for last year's high motor fuel costs on companies failing to spend their profits to boost supply. And PayPal is shedding around 2,000 jobs, or 7% of its workers, as it becomes the latest big tech firm to cut costs. The online payments company says it was forced to make the decision as it faces the challenging macroeconomic environment. PayPal's announcement follows tens of thousands of layoffs by technology giants in the last month alone. This year, Google's parent company Alphabet, Amazon, and Microsoft have announced major job cuts. Well, we'll now take a break into Forex rates. We'll return with more international business news. Stay with us. for watching Channel 44. This is our business news, and we continue with our international business news. 3 years of strict pandemic controls in China and a real estate crash have drained local government coffers, leaving authorities across the country struggling with mountains of debt. The problem has gotten so extreme that some cities are now unable to provide basic services, and the risk of default is rising. Analysts estimate China's outstanding government debt surpassing 123 trillion yuan, which is $18 trillion last year, of which nearly $10 trillion is so-called hidden debt owed by risky local government financing platforms that are backed by cities or provinces. As the financial pressure has mounted, regional governments have reportedly been slashing wages, cutting transportation services, and reducing fuel subsidies in the middle of a harsh winter. Thousands of people in the northern province of Hebei had trouble heating their homes in November and December because of a shortage of natural gas, according to multiple Chinese media reports. Cuts in government subsidies were partly to blame, according to state-owned news site Jiemian. In January alone, in the northernmost province of Heilongjiang, households in the city of Hengang were also left without heat after local farms severely restricted supplies. The companies blamed the move on lack of government subsidies. President Joe Biden is slated to announce a new progress on his administration's competition agenda during the 4th meeting of the Presidential Competition Council today, taking steps to slash junk fees, while calling on Congress to pass legislation targeting hidden and exorbitant fees across the travel, entertainment, utility, and hospitality industries. Rohit Chopra, director of the Consumer Financial Protection Unit, said Biden will announce that the CFPB will purpose a rule slashing excessive credit card late fees. In a move, the White House says will reduce those fees from $30 to $8 on average, saving American consumers as much as $9 billion a year. On a call with reporters, National Economic Council Director Brian Dees said Biden will also use the meeting to call on Congress to pass a Junk Fee Prevention Act targeting 4 types of excessive fees: excessive online concert, sporting event and entertainment ticket fees, airline fees for families sitting together on flights, exorbitant early termination fees for TV and phone and internet services, and surprise resort and destination fees. According to the gentleman, these fees can be incredibly frustrating for typical Americans who have to travel or who seek to just engage in practical ways in the U.S. economy, like accessing internet services, saying they cost consumers billions of dollars a year, and they make it harder for people to compare. Well, that brings us to the end of today's business news. Thank you for watching Channel 44. I remind you that we are still helping the people of Karamoja. The Uganda Revenue Authority joined the fight against hunger in Karamoja and against poverty in Karamoja on Monday when they donated food items, they donated clothes and very many things to the people of Karamoja through the Robert Kayanja Bucket Initiative. You too can join us, and let's save the people of Karamoja. Let's salvage the situation in Karamoja, and God will tremendously bless us. You can join us by sending your seed to the numbers that will be availed on your screen during the services. Alternatively, you can come today and sow your seed during the midweek service, and Pastor Robert Kayanja will be praying specifically for every sower. And alternatively, also you can bring your seed to the Miracle Center Church reception. You will be given a receipt for accountability, and your life will not remain the same again. Well, I remind you that we are having a midweek service today. There is going to be deliverance session, a dream interpretation, healing of the sick, and very many Mother encounters with the Holy Spirit. God bless you. Enjoy that Big Tunes program that is coming up next. Good evening.